Main difference for me in LinkedIn and the resume is LinkedIn is could quite literally be today, like today me, right? And then a resume is a historical me. Welcome everybody to the Wins and the Grind. I am your host, Adrian Escobedo. I'm your co-host. Because Tilt is the brains of this whole operation. Lisa, thanks for joining me on another great series. We're going to tackle LinkedIn and resume on this one. Uh, okay, LinkedIn, yes, I use it, but since I'm a sales guy, I probably use it for a different reason than you, a marketing person, uses LinkedIn for. So how is LinkedIn and your resume the same?
Well, they should say the same thing. That's for darn sure.
Right.
We'll talk about contrast in a second, but in terms of very functionally, you'd be surprised at how, and in fact, I heard this from an executive last week. He said, we have to go through line by line because this company I work for, a big public company, is running through security that my resume and my LinkedIn say the same thing. So with generative AI. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. I said, well, okay. Down to months, down to dates, down to descriptions, exact titles and things like that. So that's actually a new development that I'm finding out. And again, AI is really going to amplify that even for younger folks just
Right.
coming through. And it actually gave me a little something to say, huh, I should probably do the same thing on the people I'm hiring. So again, fresh out of college to, 30, 40 years in your career, it's relevant.
My resume is something, and I talk about this more in the series, but my resume is just something that I just don't use. In fact, the antidote is that it's asked of me, but no one really looks at it, And so I think I've built my brand as such that if you go and catch me on YouTube, if you go and catch me on Twitter, back when I was tweeting, because it's not called Twitter anymore, it's that's where I built the brand that got me hired, So how do I tie that into a resume? It's more obvious on LinkedIn, you can actually see it in play. So the two needed, you use them totally different, so that's kind of how I look at both of those. Lisa, let's go into how they are different. Let's double click into that real quick. I know we're going to get into it more in the series, but resume, how is it different from LinkedIn when you said they have to say the same thing?
They have to say the same thing, but I'm with you. And again, we talk about this in detail. I don't have a resume. I haven't job hunted in probably 30 years, to be honest. So but sure as heck, I'm on my LinkedIn profile every single day connecting with people. So I see them as completely different uh, methods of information delivery. I don't know. I mean, LinkedIn is active. It's a content forum. It's all the wonderful things that you can use to build your personal brand, which is a conversation in another series. And then a resume is sort of as a need to have. So while they should say the same thing, I have one and not really the other.
I think the difference, the main difference for me in LinkedIn and the resume is LinkedIn could quite literally be today, like today me, right? And then a resume is a historical me. And that is stuff that has gone on because I can post in LinkedIn today. Would I reflect that post in my resume? Probably not, that kind of thing. And so that to me, that's how they're different. LinkedIn is down to the second or the minute, depending on when you last looked at it. Resume is just accumulation of my history. And that's kind of the way I look at those two being different in my opinion. We're going to get into more detail in video 2 about LinkedIn. Video 3 is going to be about the resume, how we use them, how we don't use them. Guilty. And then obviously in video 4, we'll kind of distill it down. We'll kind of give you the pieces and parts that you need for these, so that way you can get them off the ground if you haven't yet. And obviously, we're going to highlight some of the other things that we've talked about in our series, and especially brand and versus my job, and that so on and so forth. So tune in to video 2 and 3 and 4 of the LinkedIn and resume series, and that's it for us here at the Wins and the Grind. Bye.